verse 19. Jethro had said, "Go in peace," and now God reiterates to him what he is to go and to do. Verse 19. And Yahweh said to Moses in Midian, so before he'd made it back yet, in Midian still, "Go back to Egypt, for all the men who are seeking your life are dead." So Moses took his wife and his sons, he had 2 of them, and had them ride on a donkey and went back to the land of Egypt. That's a catch-all statement. They're not back there yet. All of the rest of the story today is not yet back in Egypt until he walks in with Aaron. And Moses took the staff of God in his hand. It had previously been his staff. Now it is known as the staff of God in his hand. Verse 21. And the Lord said to Moses, still a part of this commissioning, it says, "And the Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you do before Pharaoh all the miracles that I have put in your power." Now, if you read over this quickly, you think he's just repeating what he said earlier. But remember, the miracles earlier were for the Israelites. The miracles now, he's being told, are also going to be done in front of Pharaoh. Now, that's a little bit more threatening. That's a change in the script. God didn't include this in the first one when I agreed to do this. Now you're telling me I'm going in front of Pharaoh and flipping him the bird. I'm doing the miracles right in his face. This is, all right, this changes things. Listen to what he says. God says, halfway through verse 21, "But I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go." I just need to pause here and say of this whole interaction and this ministry given to Moses, I know a bunch of us are going to be safe on this, a bunch of us aren't, okay? This is not a blueprint for evangelism. Power evangelism, so commonly thought that, you go out there and you tell them about Jesus, maybe mention his death, mostly his lovey-dovey heart and how he did miracles and how much he loves them. And then what you do is, like Moses, if they don't believe, then you put God on show by doing a miracle. Right? Sit them down and go, if you don't believe, you're going to believe soon, and lengthen their leg a little bit, or touch them on the lower back, or say something about a friend. Like there's all sorts of people today who will look at Moses and say, here's a blueprint for our evangelism. You speak, and if they don't believe, then you do miracles to convince them. But that is just not at all within the biblical scope of the purpose of miracles. Does God use miracles in his mission? Absolutely. Preached a sermon on it back in our Acts series. You can go back and have a listen. However, the purposes that God gives miracles for are usually confirming and emboldening the faith of those who already believe. That is mostly what we see in the New Testament, is that those who already believe are confirmed or emboldened, are strengthened in their faith. Sometimes it is to prove himself powerful over other gods and over other powers, which is what is happening here in Moses' empowerment. Go and show my power over those other gods so that my people understand who is truly God, and so that the Egyptians understand who is truly God. Often the miracles are to open an opportunity for mission, sometimes for gospel proclamation. In Moses' scenario, there's going to be all sorts of miracles that happen to literally open doors through the ocean for them to be able to flee. So God was going to use miracles as a part of his mission to confirm the faith of the Israelites, to prove himself powerful over other gods, to open opportunities for them to flee. But here's another one that we see in today's passage. God's miracles are also effective tools of judgment against people who don't believe. God was here saying to Moses, Pharaoh will see all the miracles, but I'm raising him up, giving him witness and giving him light so that I can bring him down with a crash. I'll harden his heart. He won't believe. He will be all the more judged. That's something that is often missed when people are just thinking, hey, if they don't believe, if they don't understand the power and the wisdom of Christ crucified, give them something really cool. Doesn't that sound foolish? But here they go, pray for something, or pray for a healing, or pray for a word of knowledge or something so that then they'll believe. Now, here's the trick. Even if God does bless that with a miracle, you're still 50-50. If they do not believe then in the power of the gospel, at which point you ask, are they believing in the gospel or the miracle? At that point, you still have a question. Are they judged in their unbelief with a hotter hell than they had 10 minutes ago or not? This is not a blueprint for evangelism. As much as God loves to pour out miracles on the pursuit of the Great Commission, this is not a blueprint of evangelism.